My question is, the Schneebel design that you said is 60 to 70% complete, would that apply to both if it were vehicular and pedestrian? The same design could be used for both?
Pretty much, yes. If it was just pedestrian, it could be modified relatively easily. If the dam is kept, yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's short. Just the man who just had the question about Upper Providence and connection. I mean, our meeting minutes are published on our website. They're put up the week after they are approved, which is typically the following Monday. You're welcome to go back and review our minutes, and please do it. Come attend our meetings.
Hi, my name is Tina Mason. I live on 4th Street with my husband and 2 children. So I want to apologize to my husband who cringed when I stood up. Concerning Tina Mason, West 4th Street, right down the block here, about not so close to the bridge. Concerning the cost of the removal of the dam, if that's chosen, you mentioned the cycle. And is this the only opportunity for that PA DOT program funding? Is that like a one-time cycle, or a cycle sounds like it's going to come up again? And I'm wondering if that's true, that it does come up again. I'm wondering about that March 1st deadline that council has placed on this.
I can't speak for council. I can tell you that you've heard from both experts here tonight that this dam is how poorly it is rated. At this point, in the interest of public safety, council would actually have to consider weigh the option of delaying this further and further. And we can't speak for them. We were asked to provide this information by April 1st, and that's what we're going to strive to do.
Thank you. Concerning the sidewalk, on the street I heard that you can't have a sidewalk that goes nowhere, and that's the reason why the sidewalk isn't being put in. And then tonight I think I heard that PennDOT won't pay for it if we put it in and it doesn't go to connections. So can that be clarified? Is a sidewalk possible regardless of who pays for it? And I do recognize that there is a potential for a bike ped lane if the road would be
This committee's understanding is what's been told to us by council is council does have the purview to have the final design for this to include any of those elements that they wish. The issue is a funding issue. The statement about PennDOT funding a sidewalk that doesn't connect to other sidewalks is true. However, this council has expressed, they have the opportunity and the willingness to construct this however they choose to, and some of it could be potentially, though, knowing that could be at the borough's expense. And with that, I'm going to guess if we could try to breeze through these pretty quickly, because we want to actually get to your input. That's more important than why we're here tonight. It's not your questions are important, but what we really wanted out of this was to hear back from you, your opinions. So if we could try to get through the questions.
John, I think you talked about the width of the dam. If the width is made smaller, am I correct in understanding that the impact on the rivers, whether it's replaced or new, as Laura mentioned, can be improved if it's not as wide? Am I understanding that correctly or not?
If the top width is narrower, then the footprint will be narrower as well, and therefore the impact on the park will be less.
Okay.
Is that your question?
Yeah. So there is a way to design so the impact is less. Okay. And would that repair / replacement include E&S measures which would control the sediment flow in the Ben Providence Park waters?
Yes.
Laura, I understand the DEP has a push for removal of dams. Is that correct?
DEP has a program that they support for dam removal in the state of Pennsylvania when it is a reasonable choice.
Okay. And our dam is currently in your top 10.
Oh yeah.
If it was rebuilt, would it be reclassified, and do you think the rating would then go up or down?
So currently it is classified as the highest hazard classification that it can be in the state. And the hazard classification, as we mentioned earlier, is not related to the condition of the dam, but rather to the size of the dam and the context. So even a new dam of similar size will still have a C1 hazard classification.
Okay, so if we use a different design that John mentioned could possibly be, if council chose it, that was smaller, would that affect the rating? Is that what you're saying?
It's unlikely that a dam that could be put at this location would be less than a high hazard dam.
All right, thanks, because this really helps me form my opinion. The fish and salamanders, they're not traveling upstream now. Would they, if the dam was removed?
Well, I haven't been out there doing any fisheries studies, but certainly if you open up access, if there are fish and salamanders present, they are going to use that corridor.
Okay, I'm really sorry. But the limited use that would allow EMS vehicles, like, how does that work? How is that controlled? That only EMS vehicles, nobody else gets by?
I'll try to answer this quickly. You know, if it were a dam with a roadway, it obviously wouldn't need to be a roadway large enough to accommodate fire truck traffic. If the dam were removed and there were a bridge, the bridge would have to be designed to be able to support heavy truck traffic. So if that is the case and we're maintaining emergency service traffic, you're looking at a bridge that needs to support an access of
HS20 loadings.
HS20 loading, which means nothing to me, or to the rest of you. But a substantial size truck. I mean, keep in mind, Media has a a hook and ladder truck, so that's a pretty decent size
My
truck.
question isn't on load, it's access. No, my question is not about the design and load that the bridge would carry, but what stops the access of other vehicles? Like, what might that look like? Is it ballast or?
At this point, those are things that would need to be taken into consideration at a design phase, and we're not even close to that point yet.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Slightly different thing, I'm more concerned about wildlife. Jean Wordley, I have lived since 1975 across the Rummels Lake. I know that it is a very active in springtime with toad mating. We hear the calls all night long. I haven't really itemized the turtles, but I suspect there could be some red-bellied turtles in that lake. I'm also a former member of the Appalachian Mountain Club and a whitewater canoeist. The question is, what environmental impact is it going to be? We're going to have a loss of amphibian habitat if we get rid of the lake.
So amphibians, the question is regarding loss of amphibian habitat. Amphibians will use wetland habitat as well, which is present currently below the dam and would be present likely above the location of the dam as streamside wetlands. So you would probably still be supporting some of those amphibian populations. Again, without specific data about what is present in the lake, it's really difficult to say who would stay. But I can say that any creatures that are mobile, once anything starts to happen, they will find a new place to live if they find the new conditions unsuitable.
And will the wetlands remain the same once the lake is gone, because you're going to have a different water table level?
What'll happen is right now the wetlands that are there are essentially artificial. They're created by the dam, the impoundment. And what we find is when you remove the dam, in a lot of cases the wetlands don't necessarily, and you're talking about the fringe wetlands along the edge as opposed to the lake, will most likely just migrate in toward where the stream was. So as opposed to being next to the lake edge, they'll be next to the stream edge.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Louise Naismith. It used to be Louise Riker. I moved here in 1963. I was 8, so you can do the math. I lived on Highland Avenue and used the bridge. I currently raise 3 boys here, and just so you know how long we have waited, my youngest son was born the year that the bridge closed, and he just turned 16. So, anyway, the questions I had is, I think this is awesome, so many people have come. I do think you should have names and addresses of the people that came. And I was wondering, with all the feedback we're going to do, hopefully in the group sessions after this, are we going to be able to see the feedback? Is there any public presentation of the survey feedback and tonight's group feedback?
Just to answer your question, this committee has been charged by council to report in a written report the data that we are collecting, that we will be collecting. And the three methods that I mentioned will all go into that report, which will be available as soon as council reviews it and makes it available once we issue the memo.
Hi, Marilyn Harper, North on Rose Street. My question is that I know that the engineering plan, because of the dam knowledge is required, is 60% complete. Has the size of the dam, if it is constructed, simply dictated by that the state's requirement for an earthen dam has to be this big? Or has the presence of the swim club and their lake dictated how size this dam would have to be if we are going to have it?
We made the assumption, well, we were asked when we first looked at this back in 1998 to fix the dam. And there was no request to look at a smaller dam. To make it smaller, you would have to lower the pool level, and we were not asked to do that. So
we were just asked to maintain what was there, what we needed to bring it up to big grade, so to speak.
yes.
Hi, I'm Mario DiCorso at 1261 Post House Lane. And here's my question. I've been listening to this, and I have, as a layman, the gut feeling that the cost of replacing the dam and taking care of the lake after that, possibly, compared with breaching the dam, that ratio, in my gut feeling, is like about 50 to 1. Now you asked for our input, that's my input. It's inconceivable to me that a group would proceed very far without getting some rough idea of am I crazy or what, before you go drawing detailed plans. It seems to me you smart engineers, I'm an engineer, but not a civil engineer, could figure out a rough gut feeling, am I crazy or what? If it's 50 to 1, things are different than you might think.
If I could try to answer that. At this point, the design prepared by Schnabel was, at the time, what the current council asked them to prepare. These other options truly were not considered until this most recent round of meetings in the fall. And in terms of costs associated with them, they would have to be determined by, if you're an engineer, you're familiar with, a cost-benefit analysis would have to be performed. With that, I think that's everyone. I want us to, at this point, we're going to proceed into to the portion of the program where we want your feedback. Again, as I said before, we're going to try to break into small groups where you'll have more of a chance to talk. If everyone could just do me a favor and stay seated while the members of this committee get ourselves organized in the correct spot, that would be greatly appreciated. Do you want me to just call them out?
Well, maybe when we get in position, you can look and see where the color is.
And again, I just want to remind each of you that during these discussions, we're all neighbors, courtesy between folks. You're all going to get a chance to voice your opinions, and we want to hear your opinions. So let's remain, pleasant and courteous. Yes, and just so you know, our experts are no longer going to be packing up. Okay. If you have yellow, you will be. Can you please proceed back to this corner by the door? Lavender or purple? Back here with
So first, and we'll just go around the circle like we did before. Thank you for doing this. What are your most important concerns regarding this project?
And I have heard about mosquitoes. I'm not sure where that would fall in there, but that's pretty concern.
So, and I'm guessing that you have positive inclinations toward wildlife and negative towards the mosquito
Yeah, they're not my
infested.
friends.
Yeah.
It's all politics. Yeah.
I was assuming that.
Not my friends.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Did you want to say the option?
Oh no, we'll do that second. So we'll do the first question and then we'll do the second question.
Yes. My concern is cost.
Okay.
Cost.
Okay.
And thank you for being brief and very clear. Oh, sorry.
Is our concern the cost?
My concern is the emergency vehicle situation and driving time into media versus going down Hard Street.
So, access time from the Upper Providence to media?
Correct.
Thank you. So good. Okay.
Everybody's doing great. Thank you. No, we're going around.
I have to have a question here. I thought cost was being taken care of primarily by PennDOT.
You know what? We're not. That's because we're not answering questions about cost. We are gathering information on what concerns are, and we're going to continue by going on.
It depends on what number 3 would be.
Bill Martin, I'm on zoning here in the borough, and whenever we have an application, we spend time on traffic. Endlessly, people come to every meeting and say, traffic is crappy in my neighborhood. The borough's only 300 acres, you know, and this is, you know, we got 25,000 people here during the day. As I stated earlier, I live on Front Street. It's the most dangerous street in the Delaware County at 4:30. Because the courthouse empties out and they're all heading for Upper Darby. I mean, it's unbelievable. My interest is to, well, I mean, for 16 years, we've been talking about getting the bridge fixed, getting the road put back together. We got an agreement, and then all of a sudden this thing came up about, wait a minute, what if we just breach the dam? But for 16 years, this idea didn't have any legs, it didn't have any strength, it didn't have any focus in the public forum. So I was kind of surprised when that came up. I am in favor of retaining the bridge. I am probably not the only one, but I'm one of the people that rode my bike here tonight. So I want the bike in there. I walk over that bridge 4 or 5 times a week with my dog. He's a white, sort of German Shepherd-y looking thing with a brown face. And either my wife is walking or I'm walking there. So I use it a lot.
I think I would like to see two-way traffic there. One lane in Newbury, we have a stop sign. They have some other places, they have a stop sign on Concord. Slow the traffic down, create a narrower top to the dam, rest of it. Lessen the impacts on each side.
Where they live. But that being said, I do also feel that we need to have, as many residents need to share in traffic. And for somebody who lives on Monroe Street, I bought that house, I'm very happy. I have a 4-year-old daughter. We live in the street, thrilled to be in the area. We have traffic going into the city, and out of the road, very fast. third bisects.
Number 2, you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, perfectly, no dead ends, and I think it would alleviate some of the travel, fair and responsible manner to all of the citizens, not the ones on Third Street, not just to really share and fair. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Thanks a lot.
My name's Brian Kelsey Lux. I live Fifth and Jack. I'm sorry, Fifth and Jack. Brian Kelsey Lux. TAUSSIE. It's on the. Yeah, it's on the.
I'll be checking.
Yeah,
And you, I'm sorry, your address is
420 North Jackson.
what are your biggest concerns?
So I'm here. I don't feel like I've got a big stake in the outcome here. I'm on the Environmental Advisory Council. There's another television cameras here.
The road.
Thank you very much, team.
My number one concern is traffic safety in that part of town. My number two concern is environmental impact and aesthetics. I want to maintain the environment, maybe even improve the environment in that area, and still have a trampled corner of town.
Thank you.
I live downstream from the dam, and I have a covered bridge, a waterfall, and all that sediment, once they release it, will come down there and probably do a lot of damage to my property. So I think the best way for us people, we who live downstream, is to have the dam replaced so it can have at least some level of flood control. And it looks like the new design can restrict the flow a lot better than it is now.
What are you going to do with it?
It'll
go away.
It'll go back to a stream. It'll become a stream with vegetation. Well,
And all that land is going to, what happens to that land?
it gets filled in with vegetation. It'll get filled in wetlands.
If they do damage.
The little stream is there. Nature will be able to. It's a silky thing. They have the solution there with the drop that level there, but it still have the lake.
But the lake will still fill
You
in.
take it downstream and the restaurants, State Street and all that. And if you've done it, all that's water is going to come down straight on, straight through the suburbs, right on down the road.
Well, I heard a more in-depth presentation by this woman on another occasion, and that really isn't the case. It will just be a slow stream. It won't. When they first do it, there's
You're going to get this depth of a slow stream.
depth.
Depth
It's not.
of the stream.
Well, it'll be deep enough for fish. You know how really good predators are.
I am still, with any of these, I wish that it weren't such a compressed time frame for the CAC, because I wish they had time to do more information gathering. I would love to know, in the past 16 years, has there been an issue? Or, it's 8/10 of a mile to drive around. I was mapped it on Google Maps. So it's 8/10 of a mile to drive around. Has that been a problem? 8/10 of a mile around. Has that been a problem? And in the emergency, because if you figure on the Upper Providence side, Upper Providence emergency services emergency services are there, so how often do they need each other, and how has that been a problem? Because it's not cutting Meeting Borough or Upper Providence, it's actually right on the border, which is kind of, it's just multiple arms they would have access to. And multiple alarms they would certainly have to call for enforcement, and I don't know if that's been an issue.
Yeah, no, the nature of public opinion is a snapshot in time, so you're not bound to this for your whole life.
That's true.
Just the nature of these things.
My two things would be, one, to restore two-way access, two-way car access, and the second would be to minimize the environmental impact on the park. want access, more than walking, and I want to minimize the.
And I think that was wonderful. Thank you for working so hard to get around the circle. Now, we're going to have an opportunity to talk about the options. I think we can help each other here. We can say it either in plain English, or we can say it in 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. Let, you know, if you need help from your neighbor on figuring out which one you want, let's take a moment, let's go over the options, and then we're going to go around again.
So, I don't know, but while they were talking, I've been in media since I was like 2, for 40-some years, and I am aware that I still don't know what's the reason for the dam initially. I mean, nobody talked about that. It was to make ice. To make ice? Yes. Harvest ice.
We were both wondering, was it originally for ice skating because
No.
open to everyone? Or when there was ice skating?
Delaware County, of the people that work at your house, utilizing that road as a freeway, as a cut through to get to the other side. And unfortunately, I feel that probably most of us who are invested in the community right here who live either Upper Providence or Media probably have more consideration of the people that live around there. Unfortunately, the people that work there, and then also the people that frequent the corner of 3rd and Orange, which is the Royal office, do not care that I have 2 little young kids that could, you know, I mean, God forbid, something terrible happens. They don't care. They fly down that street. They fly down the hill. And even the stop sign has not limited the speed that people go down the hill.
The idea of it being completely accessible for emergency vehicles, but that also gives us the option to limit the amount of traffic depending on what both Media and Upper Providence wants. And here,
You favor automobiles being able to cross.
I think it needs to be explored more. As long as emergency vehicle can go through, that needs to be explored.
That's the key.
Which B with a possible left.
It absolutely could possibly happen.
Definitely has to have a bicycle trail and a walking trail. All across there.
Maybe autos, but definitely pedestrian bicycle. Okay, thank you. Say your name.
Lance Katz. I would be for the dam removal and the bicycle pedestrian lane with emergency access. I have seen it done up in Bucks County, even with the type of sensor on, I don't know what you call it.
For a gate?
Yeah, kind of like what they do at
Okay, thank you, Lance.
Yeah.
And I agree with the dam. It has the least impact or
far less maintenance on the bridge after the dam.
and lighter.
There is
Well, yeah,
maintenance.
there's the liability. After the dam is built, there's still the possibility it can fail. And then who's liable for the damage that happened there?
You seem
Question
awkward
for council.
bringing that stuff into this discussion because it's like removed from the discussion. Like we don't have any of those facts here. But I'm not objecting to you bringing it up, but we don't have those facts.
We do not have those facts, but they are to be pursued from your council.
I feel that no matter what is built or not built across the roadway, it has little impact on the park below. I don't really care what happens to Julian and make it.
Well, we have stop signs now, we have one at 31, I'll just put that one in. There is a stop sign at Western Third, if you don't really go down that way, but there's 2 stop signs. Like, I really like the idea of giving a restricted lane.
Yeah, one lane both directions.
Right. I know they have it on the road.
Yeah, like I have a property. Some different bridge situations, tunnel situations, one lane, that really slows the traffic.
you know what did you say?
16 years.
What did you say? Oh, do something.
Well, 16 years. I have our best friends too right now. I love them. I love them.
Good to know.
Ours is staying.
The dams. So we could probably afford a nice bridge and reaching the dams. Yeah.
Distributed electronically around the world. The survey was an effort to integrate urban planning with insights on happiness from obvious psychology. Happiness is not a topic that is generally discussed in transportation and planning meetings, and yet it exists as the underlying motivation behind much of what we do, how we live, and the kinds of policies that are made. She reported evidence that genuinely happy people live longer, cover for illness more, and are more likely to seek out and act on information. She asked, what sorts of communities help provide their citizens opportunities for long-term happiness? Are current urban planning methods fostering sustainable
Hard to decide when to talk. Where you just be quiet. If that was an apology, you would accept it.
We all understand everyone's
Good luck.
And are you in? So you're getting a mail survey? You're getting a mail today?
One of my predecessors did a fantastic work. So, yeah, actually, Sam was Thank you for volunteering. So, we had to cut off and he volunteered as well. So, thank you very much.
Yes, it's good. You don't have to make the best of
Okay, yeah, I was interested in talking about that. It was fun. Yeah. It was funny too. I was there talking about residency, yeah, because it's very